Yeah.
What do you think it is? I'm technically a YouTuber. I'll put on yours in a very loose term.
Talisman, and it's a monocoque design, designed by a bloke who did the Aston Martin. So it's basically one sort of piece of fiberglass attached to a chassis. There's various chassis. There's the Talbot, the Fiat, the Peugeot, the Transit, the VW, and they're all pretty much the same. This is a long version, and this has this cupboard here. Basically just store my battery and various other bits and pieces, my camera and other bits. On the slightly shorter wheelbase they haven't got that, and they haven't got that little section here, and so it's all shrunk back a bit.
Yeah.
This used to be a little drinks cabinet. This is my little A to Z thing of people. The little cupboards above, there's nothing embarrassing in there. Keep my paper plates and clothes and whatever. They're shaped like that so that you can walk around, so you've got the space above the cupboards. Under the beds is storage. They used to convert these into a two-seater, so it's storage underneath there, and then I have my batteries underneath this section.
Yep.
So initially this used to have a seat that was in two. You following this?
Yep.
Okay, that's alright. So this used to be able to be converted to a seat. So you'd lift this cushion and push it there, lift the seat back there as a backrest, and then you'd have a seat belt, which you've got, and that would make two back seats. I hadn't got it. This is all that come with it. So there you go. The seats swivel. Oh, anyway, sorry. The seats swivel, as you can see. I tend to drive with this way and put my stuff on there, so if I brake suddenly it doesn't disappear or whatever. Normal seat. I used to have a disc lock down there. It's a bit untidy, as you say. This makes a little bed up here. I'll put these little storage boxes in. They fit quite nicely. I think they were from Wilco's, a few quid each. I put the Skylight in, which is the Sykes Hecky, big expensive one.
Yeah.
It has its, like most people, it has a little night blind, and it has the fly blind.
Yeah, that's the one we got in ours.
Yeah. It was a pain in the bum to fit. It's got a bit of a blow heater. That's the heater there. It runs on gas. It's just a tool cupboard. There's a bit of a hole in the side there when I did put a box in there, because when I was travelling with somebody else, no space.
Yeah.
So it's just a long cupboard, and I just keep my water in the bottom there, my drinking water and stuff. The toilet is very. Oh, you stop there. The toilet is clean. This used to be a shower area. I used to have a shower tray in here, and all I did was had to change that toilet because the old toilet was broke. You couldn't get the new ones, so I bought that toilet, which is a swivel. I don't use it as a shower room. That is not big enough for me, because I mean, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
I can't. You can see there's no room at all. Keep the toilet rolls up there, as you can see.
Yeah.
Normal sink with a dirty plate in. You're welcome to have a look. There's a dirty plate and sink. That's a cooker. That comes down, and then a normal cooker. It's not a very good cooker, to be honest. Not very good. I tinted the window. Not very good there. It's got a little hot water heater, which does work very well. So if you're out somewhere and you want a bit of hot water,
yeah.
Hang on. Okay, all right. Normal fridge. It's a three-way fridge, and that's basically it. And it's got the normal aspirated 2.5 diesel.
Oh, that's not bad.
No, they're quite not rare, but they're getting a little bit hard to find.
Yeah.
At the right money. They don't rust because of the monocoque design, and they don't leak because they've got no seams. So on some of the, like the motorhome next door to Kev's there, you've got the seams, and it's a classic where they leak, and that's the only problem. What else is there?
How did you come across the van?
I come across the van when I moved to Scotland. I used to have a Land Rover, and I used to run around in a Land Rover long wheelbase, and I converted that to a small camper van for myself. But it's not very big. I moved to Scotland to meet somebody, and whatever. It didn't basically work out after the time, but while I was there, my partner at the time couldn't get into the Land Rover, so reluctantly I sold the Land Rover, you know, and managed to find this. So in Scotland I found this in Rugby. That's so a train journey from Forfar, where I live. I went to Dundee station, went down to Rugby and bought it, and I found it on eBay. There was a couple that this I offered, and he took the price. I paid a little bit too much, and I'm quite happy to tell you the price, which is £5,000.
That's not bad.
Well, yeah, it had to have a little bit of work done, but it wasn't too bad. I was a bit annoyed that the cushions were not the same and whatever, and there's a little piece missing either side, because this makes a little similar type of wood to that in the side section, and that you can put stuff in, but I found the boxes work just as well. I've done nothing major to it, just major upkeep,
Yeah.
which I put a new bonnet on this year, new petrol tank, new starter motor, and I've changed it to a gasset system, which is the auto gas when you go to a petrol station. So
Yeah.
I haven't got the Calagas bottles, and that saves a lot of money. It does save a lot of money. So there, in that cupboard each side, my batteries are there, and I have a solar panel. That's the only things I've done.
Yeah. Is there anything that you would ever change?
Oh, I did actually think about putting a wood burner in this cupboard here. This cupboard here.
Oh,
Taking
yeah.
the gas fire out, taking this front door off, keeping those anyway, lining it and putting a wood burner in. But it's you have to be careful then the insurance, because you're structurally altering the vehicle, and also then you've got to remember you've got to take some wood with you.
Yeah.
But when I done the gasset, I thought, no, go for the gasset, which will save money, and it's a third of the price, and it does make a big difference. And I thought, no, keep the fire, keep it as normal, you know. The only thing I've got to do now is the fridge. I've got to rechange the fridge because it's not working as efficiently as it should do.
Yeah.
It's got a thermostat inside which transmits to this one here, and it's 10.9 in there. It's too warm.
Yeah.
It's too warm. It doesn't seem to drop. I put some USB extra sockets in before I come down this week.
Yeah.
And there's middle radio I tend to use. I only use rechargeable batteries. Would I change anything? No, not really.
No.
I like the idea of the not sunroof, but the opening roof. You can lie in bed of a night time, especially on a cool day, no clouds. Nice to see the stars, but it can be a nuisance because then at 4 o'clock you're woken up with a light. So
Yeah.
it's a catch-22. It's one of those things. I just keep on maintenance on it, hopefully.
Yeah.
I always go to the same place for the MOT, the same place for all the work, which is in Perth, in Scotland, and that's about it. There's still things to keep on top of and update.
Yeah.
You know, I tinted one side of the window, not the other side, and the reason because there's a little bit of privacy this side.
Yeah.
But you've still got the view, and you don't get your sky isn't coloured by the tint.
Yeah.
So you can see out there quite comfortably. So if I want a bit of privacy, I park that side to the public side, let's say,
Yeah.
and then this side to the viewing door I like to look at. So if I'm parking up by the beach in Forfar, I park to the sea this side, and that side if people walk past they can't really look in. And I know it's only daft putting one side on, but if you tint all round, it does make it a little bit darker in there, and it gives you a different view of the sky.
Yeah.
That sounds daft, but it does. So that's about it really. I can't think of just little storage spaces here and there,
Yeah.
cupboards, you know, nothing.
Quite a nice little van.
It is. It is. You know, they hold the value reasonably well for the age. This is 31 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, so there's things I still want to do, and I'll keep tidying it up, and hopefully it'll do me for another few years.
Yeah.
Because no, no disrespect, I keep saying about age, it's not an age thing. You won't know about it, but when you get to 70 years old, you have to reapply for your licence every 3 years, or every 1 year, and stuff like that. And you could only drive a certain vehicle weight, because he used to have a bigger motorhome, and it was a 5.5, 6 ton, which I'd be struggling to drive at 70.
Yeah.
I'm not 70 yet, so this does me. It does
Yeah.
me. I'm happy enough, you know, to have a thing.
Yeah. How did you come across the name Betty?
Betty B. It's Betty. It's Betty Bell. It's Betty B. But because everyone thinks it's Betty Boo, it's not Betty Boo. If it was Betty Boo, I don't have a picture of Betty Boo. That was from my former partner. Her mum was Betty, right?
Yeah.
Betty Bell, and she was a bit of, and with all due respect, she was a cantankerous old cow. In a nice way, and I don't mean that any derogatory remarks towards her and her mother, because I know she sometimes watches my channel. And that's how I'll give her the name Betty B, because she was a bit of an old soldier, if you understand.
Yeah.
She come from the Glasgow Clyde area, so she was a bit of a docker. You won't understand, you know. She was colourful in places. She was yeah, a strange woman. I thought, well, Betty B seemed about right, a bit old, you know, but still going.
Yeah.
Passed away now since. Passed away.
Oh.
16 months, I think.
Ah.
But she had dementia.
Ah.
But she was, so that's how I got the name. And I've kept it, even though I'm not with that woman anymore. I've still kept the name. Wouldn't change the name.
Yeah.
I'll still keep her Betty B. You know. There you go. So so I just kept it as that. Just simple as that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
anything else?
I think that's everything.
Thanks very much.